Here we go. Getting ready to start. Addison Johnson with TIU Real Estate here. Wanted to take a little bit of time to go over what buyer agency actually is, what it looks like, and some of the ins and outs of it that you may want to know when you get ready to buy a house. The question I get a lot is when should I reach out to an agent and start working with them? My recommendation would be as soon as possible. If you are 3 months out, 6 months, even a year out, you know that you're going to be moving, or you're working on building your credit or saving money, and you've got a year plan, so you know in a year's time you're going to be ready. If everything works out, go ahead and find that agent. It gives you time to build a relationship with them, and as you get into the actual buying process, it will go a lot smoother if you have some history and relationship with that agent. I know myself, I work with people all the time for 12 to 6 months. Sometimes I meet someone and it's, 45 days and we're from meeting to closing, but not most of the time. So it's kind of part of what we do. And we actually enjoy having an opportunity to build those relationships. And it's not just a transaction. Definitely answered that question. Another common question I get is how do buyer agents get paid? And I will actually jump into that in a little bit because I'm going to have up on the screen actual buyer agency agreement, and I will show you on there how that works. I will say that there is not a standard set commission rate anywhere in the United States for realtors. Now, individual firms may have a policy that they set in place for their agents to operate under. That is not a across the board, this is the standard rate. If an agent tells you that, you probably don't want to work with them because they're lying to you. Most agents have learned through a lot of hard suffering of things that's gone on in the last few years not to lie, but sometimes people aren't perfect and they make mistakes. So there is not a set standard. My firm, we have a set standard for residential homes, and we have a set standard for working with landowners, whether you're buying or selling land or you're buying or selling a home. They look a little bit different because the work that comes along with them is slightly different also. This is the first thing you'll see whenever you start interacting with a buyer agency. This is not a contract. This is the working with real estate agent disclosure. Any agent that you are having a serious conversation with about buying a house, they should do this with you pretty soon into that conversation. As soon as first substantial contact actually takes place, they should stop the conversation and go over this with you. They go over buyer agency, dual agency, designated dual agency, and being an unrepresented buyer. So whatever one of those pertain to your situation, they will cover. You'll check them, you sign them, their name and number, license number and firm name will be at the bottom. Like I said, at the very top, the first thing it says, this form is not a contract. It's not locking you in to work with anybody. This is simply saying that you and that agent had a conversation and you understand not to share your confidential information unless you're planning to work with that agent. Definitely a good thing to know about. Let's talk about the exclusive buyer agency agreement. And if you hang around to the end, I'm going to show you a form that you'll hear agents tell you now. Because of last year, we had a settlement with the National Association of Realtors. And because of that, we're not allowed to show properties without having this in place. That is true. And but there is a way to see property from a buyer's agent that doesn't lock you in with that agent forever or on any other properties. It can be a one-time showing. And if you stick around to the end of this video, I will show you what that looks like. So you will know what it is, what it's called, and how to request it if you're working with someone, not in the New Bern, Eastern North Carolina area, because I hope if you're working with somebody around here, that somebody is me, and I'll offer it to you. You won't have to ask me for it. So anyway, let's jump into the exclusive buyer agency agreement. You can see at the top, this is an exclusive buyer agency agreement. My firm, TIU Real Estate, We offer this, and we offer the other form that I was telling you about for buyers, and we'll go over that at the end. They've shortened this, thankfully. It's only 3 pages now, so it's a whole lot easier. Um, it'll have your name and the firm's name, because that's actually who you go under contract with. Up at the top, you'll put a specific location or property. Sometimes it gets kind of general. If you're looking all of Craven County, or you may be looking in Craven, Pamlico, Carteret, you may be looking Martin, all the way to Carteret. In that case, we may put Eastern North Carolina residential property in that description. There's a couple things like we want to make sure you're not working with another real estate agent or another firm. So there's some questions about that. A relocating company. And then have you received sample copies of the offer to purchase and contract and professional service disclosure form? How long the contract will go for? Is it going to be, 3 months, 6 months, up to a year? Then down here, it's going to actually have what we're going to charge for our commission. And for myself, I do that second box. I'm going to do a percentage of the gross sale, where you're not going to owe me anything until the end of the sale. But it is your responsibility to pay that. Here's the confusing part for everyone. So in the very next paragraph, you'll see where it says that I can seek that compensation from the seller, which is 100% true, 100% legal, and 100% of what I will do. So what if I put X% of the gross sale in there? Whenever we find a house, we're going to have a form called a 220 that the listing agent will have showing what they're offering, if they're offering anything. They don't have to by law, but if they are, then it'll show on that 220 form what they're offering. So let's just do some hypothetical crazy numbers so no one thinks that I'm being serious. If I was charging 20% at a gross sale, and let's say the 220 form for the house you wanted to buy showed 15%, then you would be responsible for 5% at closing. Because that 15 and that 5 is going to make 20, which is what our agreement was for. So 15 would come from the seller's proceeds, and 5 would come from you at closing. So with that, we have a little period down here on D. This is the day, so this keeps you from pulling a fast one on me. So I show you a house as we're leaving. You realize that you know the owner, and you call them up the next day and say, hey, let's drop these agents and we'll just do a deal by ourselves, which you can 100% do. But if you don't wait however many days we put right here, then you're going to owe me a commission. And their side would do the same thing. So on the next part here, we're going to skip down to 2 and 3. This is talking about terms of dual agency. It's not very relevant for me because I refuse to do dual agency. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right. I've done it twice in my career, and that was enough for me. It is legal to do, and I'm not knocking anybody that does it. There are situations where it does make sense, but for me, I want to exclusively represent my client, whether that's a buyer or a seller. I have other agents in the area that are with different firms that I will refer someone to. If I have a listing and I have a buyer come to me, I will send that buyer to someone else so they can be exclusively represented and have the duties provided to them and services provided that they should have. So it's real simple for mine. It's the very top one is where you would initial saying that the firm may not act as a dual agent in the transaction involving the buyer. Pretty simple. Talks about some photography and different things in here. Wire fraud, never wire any money unless you are talking on a phone line to the person that you're sending money to. Don't just go off email stuff. That whole disclosure on the last page happens sadly. So be very careful with that. Additional terms, if there's anything between you and the firm that you're going to work into that deal in whatever kind of way. And then down at the bottom is where you sign. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And once you have that in place, it kind of takes everything out. And it also, you switch the title. You go from being a consumer or a customer, and you now become that firm's client. Well, when you're the firm's client, just on a legal basic scale, they're going to owe you fiduciary duties. And the fiduciary duties, we like to use this thing in real estate called old car. And there's obedience, loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, accounting, and reasonable care. All of those are things that we owe you and just a baseline of how we should serve you. Like I said, it is the baseline. We strive to reach above that and do a whole lot better. So what some of those things may look like would be from the very beginning of working with you, could help connect you with a local lender, could help connect you with insurance companies in the area that you can get numbers from. Helping do a home search and seeing properties, processing through those properties, the pros and cons that you're looking for of what fits what your needs are. And then from actually writing an offer, walking you through that, getting that submitted, negotiating that offer, after going under contract, setting up home inspections and termite inspections, septic tank inspections, roof inspections, whatever may be needed, which may sometimes are more things, sometimes are less things. We're here to guide you through all that, not only helping you to understand what's going on through the process and kind of just pretty much being your right hand in everything, but also our resources that we have. So that's where myself having a construction company comes in handy, because I've got multiple roofers, I've got plumbers and electricians and stuff. So if we get a home inspection and there's electrical questions, I'm going to send the home inspection with your permission to my electrician. And within a day or so, we're going to have some answers about what they're talking about on the panel or this outlet or that light fixture or whatever. He's going to be able to break that down for us. Not only so we can understand what it means, but also if there's a repair needed, he's going to be able to give us a price. So those are always handy things to kind of have in our pocket, of those resources of different contractors and subs and trades. Go through the different inspections and stuff, and then oftentimes you have to negotiate what is the seller going to pay for to actually have done before closing. Are they going to give you some money at closing in lieu of the repairs? So helping navigate through that and negotiate through that is a big part. Staying in constant contact with the closing attorney and the lender is also something that we do behind the scenes. A lot of that you never see. So we're kind of taking the place of you in a lot of ways, and we juggle the 10 different balls and just feed you the information that you need and kind of shield you from all the stuff that you don't need, all the way through the closing table. Strive my best to be at every closing with a buyer where I'm actually sitting at a table. Oftentimes I'm not doing anything but sitting there, because the closing attorney's doing their job and taking you through all the paperwork and stuff, but I'm still there. If there's a question that arises or a situation, a document that's missing or something, I'm there and I can take care of it. So from the very beginning to the very end, and then right on through after that, like I mentioned earlier, with having a construction company, I've had multiple buyers that wanted to change the way the kitchen looked, or redo a bathroom, or needed some repairs on a deck or the deck redone. I'm able to not only follow you all the way through the closing table and serve you on the real estate side. My construction company can turn around and serve you after you bought the house, by anything that you want to change or upgrade or remodel on your house. So it's kind of a cool thing that I get to keep working with you in that way. And then also just keeping up with you after it, checking in, seeing how things are going in the house and the location and, whatever you got going on, just keeping you in the loop of local things that are happening, fairs and carnivals, concerts, and different things that are new stores that are opening or coming, or highway changes and stuff like that. So it's not just a 45 to 60 day transaction. And if that is what you're looking for, I'm probably not the agent you want to work with. I'll just be honest. I'm not a transactional agent that just wants to get a deal done and never talk to you again. It's not what I'm in the business for. I'm in here to actually change lives and be a part of people's lives. And that's more than just a 45 to 60 day activity for me. Once you're in the family, you're in it for life. I hope that answers some questions. And if you have more questions about buyer agency, I would be happy to answer those. As I close up here, I'm going to finish with this last one. So on the screen, you'll see this is a property showing agreement. This is the secret. It's not really a secret, but some firms don't have to offer this. I will do this for 3 properties. So if you don't know me and you're interested in buying a house in the New Bern or surrounding area, and you're like, hey, I'm going to give Addison a chance I want him to show me some houses this weekend. I will take you and show you those houses, and I legally can with this form, which is not a contract. It is an agreement, and on here you'll see where it shows I'm actually representing you as a buyer's agent for the specific property that's on this showing. So I would get very detailed on this if I was going to show you properties. And like I said, it would be 3. So we would actually enter the 3 addresses on here. I'm not going to charge you anything for this. You would have to prove that you'd have to not be working with another agent. The only time that would be accepted is if, say, you're looking in New Bern and you're looking in Norfolk because you're relocating from somewhere, you work remotely, you love Norfolk, Virginia, and you love New Bern, North Carolina. So if that's your case, I would need to know what the agent's name was, and I would need to call them and verify that I wasn't crossing any ethical or legal lines by showing you property in New Bern. So outside of that, I'm not going to play the game of doing this. If you've worked with other agents in the area, you need to keep working with them or completely cut ties with them and then move to the next agent. Don't play let me work with 4 different agents because it could actually be to a disadvantage to you, and it's not fair to the agents. It is what we do for a living, and that's why I said I'll give you 3. So while I'm showing you 3 houses under this document, I would say not to be seeing houses with other agents. After the 3, you can decide if you want to do an exclusive buyer agency agreement with me or not. There is a non-exclusive buyer agency agreement. My firm does not participate with those because it can get real sticky. You can have 3 or 4 non-exclusive agency agreements with agents in the same town, and that can cause a lot of problems. So I'm just avoiding that for my firm, and we do the exclusive, and we'll do the property showing agreement. You'll see on here I've got some checks. So like I said, I'm not going to charge you anything for showing you 3 properties. I'm hoping that I'll always be able to check this box. Very few exceptions to that. Time, we probably would have maybe 2 days on this, maybe 3, depending on when we talk and set this up versus when we're going to see the houses. It would cover us through the day of the showings, maybe into the next day. And down here, there's no fee owed to the buyer by the buyer under this agreement. So And also, just up front, I'm not doing dual agency once again. Number 5. So there wouldn't be a surprise or shock change or anything like that when you go from this document to the exclusive buyer agency agreement. Going from this, you cannot put an offer in with an agent using this document. You have to have a buyer agency agreement in place before you put a written offer in. That's North Carolina law. So this is a way that you can go see a house and not have to go under contract with an agent. Like I said, I will do it. Is for my firm, we will do 3 showings with this, and then if you decide not to work with us, we will save it. We keep our files forever, and we'll keep it in your file. And if you ever come back, you've had your 3 showings. So if you come back later, say 6 months, a year later, we're going to have an exclusive buyer agency agreement before we'll show you more property. Because, like I said, we are running a business. We're here to serve people, but we have to make a living, or we're not going to be able to help anybody. So there is a certain limit that we can help for free, and we've decided that 3 houses, that's enough time for you to know if you want to work with us more or not. I really appreciate y'all watching. I hope this helped you understand buyer agency agreement at a deeper understanding and more clearly. So whether you're working with me or if you're in another area that I don't cover, and you've never bought before, or it's been a long time since you bought a house, that you have a little better understanding of what you're getting into, kind of things to look for, things to ask for as you're going into it. Feel free to comment below and contact us. Our contact information's on the screen right now, so you can give us a call. Check out our website, and you can put an inquiry in right there, and we'll contact you. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Thank you.